Hello, and welcome to No Sevens Dice Club College Football Edition, Week 9. Hard to believe we are at the end of October's college football games. It is just flying by, flying by. Well, if you picked the same picks I picked last week, you are going to the casino smiling ear to ear. We had an awesome week last week. We went 4-0 on the college football picks. The bully picks, well, once again, they got beaten up. Wisconsin, who would have thought Wisconsin would have lost? I guess they got caught looking, and they ended up losing, which affected our bully picks. That's the second time in 2 weeks in a row that we've lost in our bully picks. Somebody decided to beat it up. The little guy decided to beat up the big guy, and I think Wisconsin got caught looking ahead to the Ohio State game and ended up costing them the number 5 spot in the nation. So I just want to give you guys a quick recap of how we are doing for the bullies. We are 20-2, and I bought a whiteboard so that way you guys can see this too. So we have the bullies are 20-2. The dark horses are not doing so well, but that's the reason why they're dark horses. I don't put too much money on dark horses. I put usually just the minimum and just go from there. So that way I'm not really risking a lot of money, but our picks is the best in the nation. I don't know if anybody's picking better than me right now in the nation. So this is what we are betting right now. As you can see, the bullies are 20-2, 20 wins, 2 losses. Dark horses are 1 win, 3 losses. That's the reason why I just bet the minimum. I don't bet a lot on a dark horse to succeed. That's the reason why, hence the name dark horse. The picks are 11-1. That's a 92% ratio, 92 win percent. And everybody's going to be like, yeah, right. Who are you trying to fool? You did not pick 92% win ratio. If you go back and you check week 6, week 7, and week 8, I only lost 1 game. And you know what that 1 game did not cover? It was the USC Notre Dame game. That's the only one I did not cover on. Every other one, my teams have covered. So, doing really well with the picks, guys. I'm going to go to the casino pretty soon this week, and I'm going to cash in on some monster money. Huge money. But like I always tell you guys, you do not have to pick my picks. You can go with whatever picks you want. So, let's get right into the recap. So we had Ohio State at Northwestern. I told you Ohio State was minus 28. They just blew the doors off of them. I knew that Ohio State has got something to prove to the committee this year, that they deserve to be in the college football playoffs. They just blew the doors off of Northwestern. I knew that was going to happen. The Clemson game was close for 3 quarters. I watched that game. It was very close, and then come the end of the 3rd quarter, going into the 4th quarter, Louisville just couldn't hang with them anymore, and that's why I kind of figured what was going to happen. They ended up covering. LSU at Mississippi State, I don't know what's going on with LSU. Kind of disappointed in those Tigers. They just came out, and I think they were looking ahead to this Auburn game. They just did not play like they were supposed to play in the first quarter, and going into the 2nd quarter, they didn't play also. It wasn't until the end of the 2nd quarter where they started playing LSU Tiger football and really kicked it into gear. But for the first quarter and a half, settling for field goals is not how we expect to win these games. But they ended up covering the 17.5 point spread. Everybody, I received a ton of emails on this game, and now I can throw everybody's nose right back into it. I received so much hate mail saying that I was crazy for picking the Kentucky-Georgia game after Georgia lost to South Carolina. Well, guys, I told you that Georgia has something to prove. They're going to play pissed off. They're going to play really well. And they went in there and they just and just handle Kentucky and just shut them out. Just didn't even let them even sniff the goal line. So Georgia covered at 24.5 points. So they did a really good job. All right. So we have, and then like I said, the bullies is Ohio State, Clemson, LSU, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, and Oklahoma. Wisconsin was the only one that did not cover. So, all right, moving on to week 9. This is the reason why you guys tune in. So we are going to tune into week 9, and we are going to go over our bully picks. So the tough guys are, I'm going to write this down so that way you don't have to listen to me say it. The tough guys, our bully picks are, I'm going to write this down while I'm talking to you guys, is Oklahoma, LSU. This is going to be a very close LSU game. Ohio State, Penn State, Alabama, and Clemson. So these are our picks for the bullies. The Clemson game, the LSU game is going to be very close. Auburn always plays LSU. That game's always decided by 7 points or less. But that was the old offense. For the new offense with LSU, this game could really come up into a coin toss. I don't think it's going to be settled by a field goal like it was last year. But it's going to be a very interesting game. Auburn's defense is just like LSU's defense in every stat. I was looking at it. The difference is Auburn's defense front line is just like Florida's front line. Very dominating. I think who controls the line of scrimmage, LSU's offense versus Auburn's defense is who's going to win this game. They did a really good job. LSU's offense did a really good job against Florida's defensive line. And once again, you can see that LSU's wide receivers were just too much to cover for Florida's corners. And now that LSU has another five-star wide receiver coming back, his name is Terrence Marshall Jr. He was the number 4 wide receiver in the nation coming out of high school a couple years ago. He's never dropped a single pass. He's averaging almost 25 yards a carry. And he's a very hard guy to bring down. He's 6'4", 225 pounds, a very dominating wide receiver. So look for him to be the X factor, and then you got these other wide receivers coming in. So I'm going to take Auburn at LSU, and I'm going to take LSU minus 10 points. This is going to be a very close game. I don't know if LSU is going to cover this 10 points because they always play them tough, but I think LSU is going to win. So I'm going to take LSU minus 10. And then the next one is, the next game we're going to cover is Oklahoma at Kansas State. Oklahoma is traveling to Kansas State. I think Oklahoma is going to be dominating this game. Jalen Hurts is definitely playing as a more professional quarterback in his senior year. He's finding his wide receivers. They have a very explosive offense. Kansas State does not have a defense to cover all these players coming out the backfield. I think their running back, I forgot his name now. I'm sorry, guys. I don't remember his name for Oklahoma. I think he's going to have a monster day. I think he's just going to come in there and he's just going to dominate the game. I would think that Jalen Hurts would run all over Kansas State. I think it's going to be more the running back is going to run all over them. So with that being said, I am going to go ahead and take Oklahoma. All right, let me write this down. Oklahoma minus 23.5 points. So I am going to take Oklahoma minus 23.5 points. All right. And those wide receivers that Oklahoma has are just going to be lighting up the scoreboard in Kansas State. I don't think Kansas State has enough corners to cover everybody that Oklahoma has. So I think it's just going to be a massive shootout. You might even pick the over on this game. It all depends. I think the over was at 55 or 61 points. I think it was at 61 points is where it was. You can probably take the over. I think Oklahoma's going to score about 49 points. Kansas State's probably going to score about 10, 12, 13, max 14 points. I don't even think they're going to even score 14 points. But so I think it's going to be a very close over. I don't see an explosive over for the Oklahoma game. I think it's going to be right next to it if it's 61 points. The next game we're going to cover is Penn State at Michigan State. As you know, the whiteout game last week, it was a very close game against Michigan, but Penn State did play like they should have. Michigan, man, they're just struggling right now. But they're going to Penn State is playing Michigan State. And Michigan State is just like the other Michigan team is they have no offense. I don't know what it is with Michigan teams, but they just seem like they just don't have an offense. Penn State dominates both the defense and the offense categories in this game. So I'm going to take Penn State. I'm stepping out on a limb. I never really picked Penn State, but I'm going to take Penn State minus 6.5 points to win this game. I think they're going to easily do that. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game for Michigan State. I don't think Michigan State's going to really get past their own 50-yard line, whereas Penn State's going to pretty much have their will on Michigan State. So I'm going to take Penn State minus 6.5 points. And then the next team, this whole entire week was a really weird week for teams. They have a really tough schedule, and your normal teams that usually play are usually on byes. So we are going to pick another team that I normally do not pick, is Missouri. Missouri lost their first game against Wyoming, I believe it was, and up there too. I mean, they just flat out lost. They got dominated the whole entire game, and I think it was a good wake up call for them because they realized that they are a really good team this year, but they also made them realize that they can't just go in there and just expect to just win a game on just talent alone. They actually have to execute a game plan, and it really showed them that they really need to do that. But a lot of people don't realize is the talk is that you have Florida, the whole entire SEC East is all talk about the Georgia-Florida game. Who's going to win the Georgia-Florida game? Well, there's a little dark horse named Missouri who has not lost a game in the SEC East. So there's only two teams who are undefeated in the SEC East. Well, actually, there's only one team in the SEC East in SEC conference play, and that's Missouri. Missouri has not lost an SEC East game or lost an SEC game at all yet. They're undefeated come SEC play. Florida has not lost an SEC game yet, but they did lose against LSU, so they did lose an SEC game. So Missouri pretty much is number one in the SEC East. And so with that, I'm going to take Missouri minus 10 points at Kentucky. This is probably going to be a very close game. Kentucky got dominated at Georgia. I was kind of hesitant to take this pick, but there's really not a lot of good picks out there this week. But I think Missouri is going to continue on the pace of wanting to dominate the whole entire game, and I think that they're going to go ahead, and I think they're going to go ahead and pull this out. I don't know if they're going to win by 10 points, but I'm going to go ahead and take Missouri minus 10 points. I think they're going to go in there and they're going to try to handle business. Missouri dominates both sides of the offense and defensive category stats in this game. So I like Missouri. I think they're going to keep on rolling. Missouri has a pretty good offense right now, and they're doing a really good job winning. I would like to see Missouri just win out and represent the SEC East. Because that would be really good for LSU. I think LSU is going to end up winning out this game, and that moves me on to my dark horse on the reason why I said LSU is going to win the SEC West. I think they're going to win against Auburn, but for my dark horse, This is my dark horse. Here we go, guys. This is shaky ground like we've had before. My dark horse, and you guys might want to hold on to your seats because you guys are probably getting ready to fall over when I tell you who my dark horse is. And I am well prepared to receive all this hate mail coming towards me right now. Everybody's going to tell me that I need to get locked up and go into the loony bin. All right, so can I have a drum roll, please? And I will tell you who my dark horse is. And when I tell you this, and you guys are going to be saying no sevens, you have lost your mind. So my dark horse team is Arkansas at Alabama. And I am going to take Arkansas plus 32 points. And you're probably like, all right, time to unsubscribe from this guy. He has gone off the deep end. His dark horses are getting more exotic every weekend. Well, as you know, Tua is not in this game. He has a high sprained ankle. He just had surgery on it, so he's not at 100% full health. And in Arkansas, played Texas A&M really tough. You can look at the Texas A&M game versus the Alabama game. That was pretty close. And if that's going to be an indicator of how the Texas A&M game against Alabama was any indicator, that would kind of give you the same matchup of how Alabama and Arkansas is going to play. Yes, I think Alabama's going to win. That's the reason I picked them on my tough guys list. But I do think Arkansas is going to keep this game a little bit closer because the quarterback that's starting has no experience. And Arkansas is showing a little bit of improvement. They take a step back every so often, but I think Arkansas is going to make a game of this. I think they're really going to challenge them, and I'll be really happy if I lose my tough guy pick and Arkansas just flat out just wins outright against Alabama. I'll be doing cartwheels all the way down the street. But I think Arkansas I'm going to pick Arkansas plus 32. That's my crazy dark horse pick of the week. And so just to give you a recap, Oklahoma, LSU, Ohio State, Penn State, Bama, and Clemson are my tough guys. I'm going to take LSU minus 10. I'm going to take Oklahoma minus 23.5. Penn State minus 6.5. Missouri minus 10. All right, now I'm going to answer some quick emails real quick for you guys because I've received some emails on some tougher games that I'm not going to cover. And if you notice, my camera, this room is haunted. I have come to the conclusion that this room is haunted where my craps table is because my camera keeps on moving. It's not me, but if you notice, it moves every so often. I've been noticing that when I've been shooting you guys. So give me 1 second. I'm going to readjust this so that way we can actually see what's going on here. All right. So it's how it is, you know, when you play in a haunted room. I guess it's filled with old craps gurus. Anyway, not to get sidetracked. So the emails, let me pull it up. I received a couple of emails for some different games this week. I didn't pick them, but I'm going to give you my advice on what I think. So we have the first game that everybody's asking me about is what do I think about the Wisconsin-Ohio State game? Wisconsin is playing at Ohio State. This game is 11 o'clock kickoff Central Time, 12 o'clock Eastern Time. Wisconsin was looking ahead and was, you know, and they lost last week, so they've already lost, so they're going to play a very well executed game. This comes to a battle of great defense that Wisconsin has and a great offense that Ohio State has. Ohio State is favored by 14 points in this game. I think they're going to cover that 14 points. It's Wisconsin just does not have the firepower to keep up with Ohio State, and but their defense is going to hold them for a couple of quarters. I wouldn't be surprised that this is going to be a close game going into halftime. So if you guys played at halftime, I would play it closer to the vest. I would take Wisconsin for the half. For the first half, but in the end, I think Ohio State is just going to be, there's just too many five-star recruits on Ohio State that's going to be playing to the next level. So I expect Ohio State to cover this game. And so I would take Ohio State plus the 14. I know they're going to win the game outright. It's going to be a really good physical game to see how it all plays out. I can't wait to check this out at 11 o'clock Central Time. So that'll be my pick. I'm not going to pick it on the board, but I'm going to take Ohio State plus 14. I'm going to also take Ohio State to win outright also. I'm going to, that's on my tough guy list. All right, the next email says, let's see if I can find it. Let's see, where was it at? Oh, and guys, real quick while I'm searching for this email, if you have a college pick, put in there that it's a college pick or if it's a craps question, because I go through a lot of emails and they're not really decided if they're college picks or if they're college picks or craps questions or strategies that you guys want me to answer. Just kind of help me out so that way when I'm going through it, I can answer your emails a lot quicker and I can see what you guys have. And then my email address, like I always say, is no7diceclub@gmail.com. Just email me your college picks, what games you want me to take a look at. I'll go over. I received about 25 emails on the LSU-Alabama game. I'm going to get to that game. I promise, guys, I will cover that game come November 9th. Lots of information I've been gathering for that game. It'll be interesting to see how Tua comes back from his high ankle sprain surgery. That's the same high ankle sprain surgery he had last year going into the playoffs, and we all know how that affected him during the Clemson championship game. All right, moving on. Last question. Dear No Sevens, thank you for all the great picks. I've made a lot of money over the past weeks with you. Keep up the great work. Thank you. Appreciate the compliment. I'm glad to see that you're having lots of success like I am. All right, my question is, what do you think about the Notre Dame at Michigan game? Wow, that's going to be a really tough game. and I want to give you guys how tough this game is. Right now, Michigan this game is at a pick'em. That's it. There is no point spread. It's a pick'em game. So congratulations on giving me the hardest question of the week. So right now, Michigan and Notre Dame, it's at a pick'em. They're playing at Michigan. This game is always a very physical game at Ann Arbor. I think, like I was saying before, Michigan's offense is stuck in gear. They're stuck in first gear. Shea Patterson, Jim Harbaugh, I don't know what's going on with them. I thought for sure when Jim came from the 49ers, took the Michigan job, that this would be run like an NFL pro-style offense and defense, because he did really well at the 49ers. I don't know if that was a leftover from Norv Turner, I think was the coach before Jim, if I remember correctly, who is a great recruit. I mean, and that's the reason why Atlanta was doing so well after he left the 49ers and went to Atlanta. And that's the reason why Atlanta was doing so well. And that's the reason why they ended up going to the Super Bowl that year, but they ended up losing to the Patriots when the score was 28-3. But that's just a little side note. That was Norv Turner, I believe, who was in there and who was recruiting all those great players. He's a great coach, and somebody from the NFL or the college rankings should really take a look at Norv Turner, because he knows talent and he knows great defenses, and that's how the 49ers went to the Super Bowl, and that's how Atlanta Falcons went to the Super Bowl. Okay, but that's just FYI information. So the Notre Dame at Michigan game, this comes down to a pick'em game. Notre Dame is going to play their hearts into this game because they want to play for a New Year's Six game. They want to prove to everybody that they're not a fluke. It's a 7:30 game. So look for if it was me and I had to put money on this, I would take Notre Dame because it's a pick'em game. If for an outright win, I think Notre Dame is going to be the bigger person. They're going to come in there and they're going to have something to prove. Notre Dame leads all the categories in offense. What a shock. I think you can go find Sister Mary of the Poor and they'll have a better offensive stats than Michigan. Michigan leads a couple of the defensive stats, but Notre Dame also leads a couple of them too. So it's kind of a break even. I mean, overall, looking at the defensive stats, it's pretty much a break even for defense. So if I had to take it and the defense is a wash, I really would like to see their offensive line play. I've seen it play a couple times against the Georgia game, the Notre Dame offensive line. That's what I'm talking about. Play against Georgia. They did a really good job against the SEC East team. So, and I watched Michigan's offensive line. It's pretty deplorable. If I had to pick, and I always look at offensive lines and defensive lines too to help give me a strength gauge. Notre Dame's offensive line is pretty good. And so with that, I would take Notre Dame to win this game. And that'll be my other pick. If I had to pick one, I would pick Notre Dame. So Ohio State and Notre Dame would be my two picks if I had to go with those. Hopefully I answered you guys' emails. If you do have any more emails, just send them to No Sevens Dice Club. And please put on their college picks for week 10, week 11, or something like that. Please make it detailed. Help me out so that way I can put your name and I can represent your team, the team that you want me to look at. But these are my teams. And I hope, and like I said, you don't have to pick whatever I pick. You can pick whatever teams you like. And like I always said, what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and we're going to buy a ticket for LSU. We're going to buy a ticket for Oklahoma, a ticket for Penn, and a ticket for Missouri. And then we're going to do the SEC teams. So we are going to do the Auburn and the Missouri, the SEC picks. So I always do an SEC picks. And then, so I'm going to parlay LSU and I'm going to parlay Missouri together after my individual tickets. And then I'm going to do Oklahoma and Penn. I'm going to parlay these two. All right. And then I'm going to buy a four ticket parlay. Or I'll do a five ticket round robin. Just depends on which one pays out a little bit more. Usually the parlays pay out a little bit more. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably just do a round robin, or this year I think I'm going to do a round robin. I'm going to do a round robin for the LSU, the Oklahoma, the Penn State, and the Missouri. Round robin for all four teams, and then the individual ticket to Arkansas is going to be an individual ticket for the dark horse, and then a parlay for the tough guys, and then I'm going to add two teams to the parlay for the bullies, so that way it pays out a little bit more instead of just a couple of dollars. So I'll probably add Penn State, and I'll probably will add LSU to the tough guys to win out. So that's my picks for week 9. I hope you guys have lots of success picking out your teams. If you want to go with my teams, hopefully this week is really good. I feel kind of strange about this week, so I don't know. I guess because I'm picking teams that I really don't know. So that I normally don't pick, I should say. I normally don't pick Missouri, and I usually don't pick Oklahoma because Oklahoma, their spreads are usually in the 30s, not in the 20s. Alrighty, so that's week 9. I hope you guys have all the success picking your teams. And like I said, if there's anything you guys want me to look at, please send it to my email and I'll take a look. And good luck come Saturday, and I wish you guys all the success, and take care.